Events have long been acknowledged as generators of tourism. Travelling to participate in and spectate at events dates back to before the ancient Olympics in Greece. Using events to generate benefits for a host destination or community has been gaining prominence since the mid-1980s. There was once an assumption that simply hosting an event such as the Olympics would stimulate demand for travel to a destination. As a result, events such as the Olympic Games were hosted by destinations with little thought as to how they could be used more strategically. For example, venues and transport infrastructure were constructed or upgraded without consideration for how they were going to be managed, used, or maintained after the event. Further, destinations often used economic impact as a means of justifying the value of an event such as the Olympic Games. While predictions of economic impact studies tend to be positive, the actual reality is often the opposite, as benefits are often overestimated and costs are often underestimated. These problems have resulted in many host cities having substantial debt and facilities that are not used. With public funding often used to offset the cost of events, governments must justify the public good that comes from an event. The focus has therefore shifted from economic impact studies and on to legacy. Proust defined legacy as all planned and unplanned, positive and negative, intangible and tangible structures created by and for an event that remain for a longer time than the event itself. Legacies can include economic, tourism, media, socio-cultural, physical and infrastructural, environmental, political, knowledge, policy, networks, social capital, urban development, health and well-being, and physical activity. However, when the event is over, legacy initiatives may cease. Ongoing funding for event-related initiatives may disappear and legacy planning may become secondary or even forgotten. Legacy has been criticised as rhetoric. The focus therefore has moved from legacy to leverage. Event leveraging shifts the focus from the event to strategic planning. The difference between legacy and leverage is subtle but important. As Charlotte points out, legacy places the focus on the event itself and therefore focuses on outcomes that are generated as a result of hosting the event. Leverage, however, focuses on strategy rather than the event per se. Thus, leveraging views events as seed capital to generate other outcomes. Charlotte illustrates the differences beautifully through thinking of a hammer. He asks, what is the legacy of a hammer? How and why did this hammer create its outcomes? Those are legacy questions. He then asks, what do I need to do with this hammer, along with the other tools in my toolkit, in order to optimise desired production? That is a leveraging question. If we substitute event for hammer, then that illustrates the differences for events and makes it clear why destination stakeholders should place the focus on strategically pursuing targeted outcomes. In order to maximise outcomes of events to a destination, strategic planning is needed. This is known as event leverage. The relationship between events and tourism can be mutually beneficial, and positive outcomes can be maximised. Event leveraging for tourism gain encourages destination marketers to integrate events into their marketing mix to promote tourism or build the destination's brand. It encourages event marketers to integrate tourism into their marketing mix to attract new markets and provide cross-promotion opportunities. For example, Tourism and Events Queensland is leveraging the 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games across the state. They've created a bucket list of things to do in Queensland, and they've integrated the mascot Borrabee by filming him in each destination. This showcases key tourism attractions within each destination. Thinking through how we leverage events, we must first identify a leverageable resource. For example, Charlotte's model of economic leverage considers how to maximise the economic value of an event to a destination. First, he notes that the hosting of an event creates opportunities to capitalise on attracting visitors and trade. The strategic goal then could be to optimise trade and revenue and enhance the host community's image. Further, he suggests that the exposure of the destination through event-related media can enhance the host community's image. Thus, through integrating the event into the destination's product and service mix and integrating the destination into the event's product and service mix, strategies can be developed to optimise revenue by lengthening visitor stay, enticing visitor expenditure, enhancing business relationships, and retaining event expenditure within the destination. The host community's image can be improved through showcasing the event through advertising, media and public relations, and using the event in destination advertising and reporting. Opportunities and strategic objectives for event leverage are best when they align with the destination's strategic vision. Therefore, strategic planning is dependent on both the destination and the events that are being leveraged. Leveraging need not be limited to the host city. For events such as the Olympic or Commonwealth Games, non-host cities may also seek to leverage the event that is hosted in the region, state or nation. This could be through hosting part of the event or through other efforts. For example, non-host cities might capitalise on pre-games training camps of visiting athletes or flow-on tourism from the event.
We've been working very hard at trying to attract teams to come to the Sunshine Coast. Obviously, we're not going to be able to host the events as such, but we can certainly host the teams in the lead up to the Commonwealth Games. So the big one, we've had Scotland, Wales, we've got Isle of Man and Niue. There are 4 countries that we've already announced. There is another one on the way. So we've got these countries, particularly Scotland and Wales, that have got big teams that will be coming and staying here on the Sunshine Coast in the lead up to the Commonwealth Games. Because most teams will come out and do about a month or so preparation before they actually have the competition. So we've been working very hard behind the scenes to attract these teams to come to the Sunshine Coast as their base prior to their actual competition.
While we've talked primarily about mega events, leveraging also occurs for small-scale events. Leveraging requires collaboration between event and destination stakeholders.
The primary area we work is with, we do lots of stuff with restaurants, so obviously those are 2 very key areas. We work with a whole range of businesses like the surf club. We talk to businesses who are actually in tourism, such as the ferry services or other groups who are doing, who are involved in trying to provide activities and events for people when they're in town. And whatever we can do, we try to build a working relationship. For example, we're working with the Noosaville Business Association this year. They've come on board looking at ways, in a small way, how they can support some of the river events we're doing, which brings people down to the river and therefore brings people to perhaps walk along Gympie Terrace and then look at the shops, the retail shops, perhaps buy something, go and have a coffee somewhere, etc. So we try to work with the local business associations also to start to build a program that we can jointly build. So sometimes it's a toe in the water and then let's take it, we'll do one thing this year and then we'll try to build on it for years to come. So that's another strategy we've got in place.
Simply hosting events within a destination does not guarantee tourism benefits. Strategic planning that is done collaboratively among event and destination stakeholders is key to maximise outcomes from events.